I am Rolo. You're not looking at the camera. You got stage fright. How long are you going to stay here for? Say hello. Say hello. I'm Rolo. I'm a brown fluffy dog that likes licking my mummy, and now I'm going to go. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to my channel and to today's video, which is a little bit niche, I must admit. It is a 1-year puppy update and also just a general puppy chat. I asked on Instagram if anyone had any questions, and I actually got quite a few, so I thought it would be quite nice to just chat about all things puppy. So a little bit niche, but this video might interest you if you are thinking about adding a dog to your family, or if you are in the first few weeks of having a puppy, or if you're just a dog lover or dog owner who likes to chat about other people's experiences. I should probably start by saying that I am absolutely not a dog or puppy expert. This is actually our first experience of being responsible for a dog and owning a dog. I had dogs growing up when I was little, but it's obviously very different being responsible for one yourself. So I'm not an expert, and I also have realised that people have very different opinions when it comes to dogs, and also dogs are very different as well. So Rolo, our dog, is a very confident, energetic dog, and he'll be very different to a more sort of shy and quiet and timid dog. So these are just my experiences. I get quite a lot of questions over on Instagram. I've also had a few people ask me to film an update video, just asking me for puppy tips and puppy advice, and I can get why people are messaging me, because I was exactly the same in the beginning. Firstly, it's quite a big decision deciding whether to get a family dog, and secondly, in the beginning, in the first few weeks of having Rolo, I was constantly Googling. The amount of times I Googled, should an 8-week-old puppy do this? Should my 12-week-old puppy be doing that? I was constantly looking at YouTube videos and things. And one thing that I used to do was I used to go on Instagram and I would see like these really well-behaved, cute little puppies, like cuddling up to their owners and things. And I remember thinking, is anybody else finding this really hard work? Because in the early stages, especially in the first few weeks, I found having a puppy really hard work. And it wasn't that he wasn't wanted or that we didn't love him instantly, because of course we did, but I just found it really hard. So I want to try and be as honest as I can in this video, because if that is you and you are in that situation currently, I just want to be as honest as I can about my experiences, because now, obviously looking back, Rolo is just the best member of our family. He has calmed down loads, it's got a lot easier, and so I want to try and reassure you if that is you in that situation. So I'm just going to get started. I'm just going to share a few. If I don't answer your question, or if you have a question for me, just leave it in the comments below. Also, as I'm going through, I'm sure I'll say things about Rolo, because there's still a few things that we would like to try and sort of teach him a bit more. So if you have any advice or tips for me, then do leave them below. First of all, I thought this was a really good one to start on. Are you happy with your choice of breed? I'm scared of making a bad choice. So we really researched breeds before we got them. Rolo is a chocolate Labradoodle, and we always had Labradoodles on our shortlist for a number of different reasons. Firstly, my kid's godmother has 5 Labradoodles, so my kids had kind of grown up with them. We knew what the breed was like, and also one of her youngest Labradoodle is actually Rolo's half brother, but he's a couple of years older than Rolo, so we kind of kept it in the family. But the reason that we decided on the Labradoodle breed was, firstly, we wanted a slightly bigger dog. Now, don't get me wrong, he's not like Beethoven size or anything like that, but he's quite a big dog, and we always wanted a slightly bigger one. We also wanted a dog that needed quite a lot of exercise and that was quite energetic, because we're quite active, my kids are quite active, so we like going outside a lot. We also wanted one that was affectionate and good with kids, and we also wanted a breed that was quite an easy breed for a first-time owner. So Labradoodles are quite intelligent, and apparently they pick up on things quite easily. So that was the reason that we ended up going for the Labradoodle breed. We wouldn't change it at all. Like, we love him and we love Labradoodles. There is a website, which I'll try and link below if I can remember the name, where you can go on and you can compare all different crossbreeds, you can compare all different pedigrees, and you can kind of see which breed is right for you. So yes, it is a bit of a daunting choice because there are so many different breeds out there. How did you know it was the right time to get a dog? So it was something that we had talked about for years on and off, but it was one of those things where we would talk about it loosely and then we wouldn't even think about it again for a few months. And then my kids would ask me, I'm not joking, a few times a week if we could get a dog. And towards the end of the last year, we started to think about it a bit more and we started to talk about it more, and we decided to start the process. And it wasn't really that it was a particularly right time, we just started talking about it more. We felt that our kids were at quite good ages. We were past the sort of baby and toddler years and the intensities that come with that. Obviously people get dogs when children are baby and toddlers, but it was just personal preference. We felt like our kids were old enough to go out on walks and things and take a little bit of responsibility with things like feeding him and stuff. And we just felt like it was the right time for us. When does the biting stop? I Googled this so much in the beginning. I was like, I haven't bought a puppy home. I've brought home a crocodile. And in the beginning, puppies obviously bite and nip a lot. And I kind of started to get a little bit worried because the kids, you couldn't walk past him in the beginning without him biting your ankles, or even when you just stroked him, he'd start to sort of try and nip you and things. The one thing that I would say is that it 100% just eventually does stop, and it's just a case of really reinforcing it. I thought it was never going to get better. It started to get a little bit better around 6 months, I think, when he lost his puppy teeth, but he still was getting excited and sort of nipping. A few things that we did to try and stop it. First of all, if he started to nip when we were playing with him, we would stop the game immediately and we would walk off. We would constantly tell him no when he was nipping us. We would walk away, etc. And another thing that we did do is, because the kids couldn't even stroke him in the beginning without him starting to be like and trying to nip. Obviously he wasn't nipping hard, but we gave the kids a toy. So whenever they went to stroke him, they would give him the toy. So then he would concentrate on chewing the toy and the kids could stroke him. But it was one of those things that just came naturally in time. Even now, he's just turned a year old. If he gets overhyped and overexcited, he'll still try and nip a little bit, and it's no way near aggressive, but it's obviously something that we're trying to stop him from doing. So if anybody has any tips, it's very rare, but it's just if he gets really excited, he still tries to like have something in his mouth. When we come in from being out, he will always go and grab something. He just likes to have something in his mouth when he's really excited. He'll bring sort of toys back to you and stuff, but it does just come with time. But it was one of those things that I really felt, was it ever going to get better? How did you train your pup not to chew furniture and bark at people coming to the front door? So in regards to people coming to the front door, he's never really barked at people coming to the front door. He's an absolutely lousy guard dog. But he does, when people come in, he's still very jumpy. So again, if anyone has any tips for that when people enter the house, I think as well, because people aren't coming in as much because it's 2020, he's just not used to people coming in the house. So when people do come to the house, he is so excited. And I've had people say, oh, why don't you just like have a treat to hand and get him to sit? But when he is that excited, he'll sit, take the treat and then still jump. So if anyone's got any tips for that, I'm wondering if he'll just calm down eventually. But in terms of chewing furniture, we've been very lucky that he doesn't chew furniture. He's not a particularly he hasn't taken a shine to the furniture. He did chew the corner out one of my rugs, which I was just like, oh my God. But so far, we've been quite lucky with the furniture. In terms of other things though, he is very chewy. He's quite a chewy dog, and he's also quite a destructive dog. As in, if you give him one of these toys that's supposed to be like indestructible, he'll manage to chew it within half an hour. And he's still like that. So if you drop like a crisp wrapper on the floor, he's like, my God, this is the best thing ever. He chews that to shreds. If he can get hold of any of the kids' toys, he'll chew those. He's obsessed with slippers and socks. So he's still very chewy. I'm just hoping that that will come in time, or maybe some dogs are just more prone to it than others. How did you find training, easy or hard? Does Rolo ever ignore you like my dogs do? Yes, all the time. He is really good with training. He was a very easy dog to train in some respects. So he picked up all the kind of commands and tricks pretty quickly. So he knows things like, oop, nearly dropped my phone. He knows things like sit down, lie down, stop, stay, leave it, wait, come. My kids have taught him high five, fist bump and paw, which is basically the same thing because he can't actually, funnily enough, he doesn't have a fist, so he can't do a full-on fist bump. But he's really good at picking up the training and the tricks, and he's really good if he's in the right frame of mind. He's very, very easy to respond to commands, but he does completely ignore me at times. I guess it just depends on his mood. Sometimes I'll tell him things and he'll look at me, I'll be like, Rolo, sit, and he will just look at me as if to say, no mate, I'm not doing that. It's also depending on his mood, like how excitable he is and who's around. So for example, if people come into the house and he's really hyped up, then it's harder to get him to listen. Likewise, if we're on a walk and there are other dogs about and things. So it really does depend, but yes, he does ignore me. I had quite a lot of questions about recall and what he's like around other dogs. So in terms of recall, he's always been brilliant. I also had quite a few questions asking, like, when we first let him off the lead for the first time. So we were advised to let him off the lead really quickly because while they're still little, they really are like more likely to stick to you. So we took him out, the last injections he had, as soon as he was able to go out, we took him out on the lead a few times and then we literally just let him go and he did stick to us. So I do really recommend that. But in terms of recall, he's really good. All we do is shout, Rolo, come, like this. We used to do this a lot more. We don't need to do it so much anymore. And we put our hands up like that and make it really like, be really excited. I'm not going to do that to you because that's just embarrassing, but be like, Rolo, come. And then as soon as he got to us, we would give him a treat and he would sit in front of us. And he is really good at that. He still is really good to it, like even to this day. The only thing is if there are other dogs or distractions about, that's when it is a little bit harder. And sometimes it can be really hit and miss as to whether he will come. I also think he senses my fear, especially if I haven't spotted another dog in the distance. I think he knows and he's like, haha, I'm gonna have some fun with this. So that's when recall can sometimes be a little bit harder. In terms of being around other dogs, I have got quite a few friends who have got dogs. He's amazing with them. The only thing is he's very energetic and very jumpy and he still is on a walk. So 99% of the time when we're on a walk, if I see a dog in the distance, I will always put him on the lead. And that is just out of courtesy to other dogs and their owners because you don't know who we're going to walk past, whether that dog is shy or timid or whether the dog is aggressive. So I would always just rather put Rolo on the lead because the last thing I would want to do is if there is a shy and timid dog around to have Rolo jumping all over them because he's just that type of breed. So I will make sure that I put him on the lead if I see any dogs in the distance. If we're with friends' dogs, he's fine, he's off the lead all the time. And also where we walk him down the back of our house, I've got to know some of the dog owners. So if I know that that dog is okay and the owner's fine with them having a little play, I will leave him off the lead because I think it is good for him to get used to walking past other dogs. But if he's on the lead and we walk past another dog, he's still quite jumpy. So I don't know again if that is something that will come in time. It's very hit and miss. Sometimes I'll walk past with a treat and he'll ignore the other dog, but he is just very, very excitable. So if you've got any tips for that, then let me know. But recall wise, he's brilliant, and with other dogs he's brilliant. He's just a bit too over friendly. Lots of tips about toilet training and things. So with toilet training, again, I think it is just something that comes in time, and in the beginning it was something that I used to really stress and worry about. In the beginning I got puppy pads because I thought he wasn't really allowed out in the garden and stuff, but now in hindsight I probably shouldn't have used the puppy pads in the beginning. I probably should have just put him straight outside in our enclosed garden. But in terms of toilet training, it just comes in time. So in the first kind of beginning period, we would take him out every sort of half an hour or so. And I remember at times, especially because it was January, just thinking, oh my God, because we sat there, like stood there waiting for him to go when it was freezing and wet. But it was just really just constantly reinforcing for him to go outside. So it is a bit of a palaver, to be honest with you, but it just gets better and better. Crate training helped with toilet training a lot because dogs don't tend to go in the area that they sleep and eat. So crate training helped for him to start learning to go for long periods of time. But it was just a case of him getting used to it. We really sort of reinforced it as it started to get like, his bladder started to get a little bit bigger. We would make him like wait every sort of hour or so and then we'd take him out, and it just started to click into place. We haven't had an accident in the house now for months, and he will stand at the door now and wait for us. He just knows and we let him out and he's absolutely brilliant. But it's just one of those things that comes in time, and you can't imagine getting there, but eventually you do. We had lots of accidents in the beginning in the house, but it was just one of those things that eventually he got it and we figured it all out. Again, as well, he used to come out of his crate and go straight for a wee in the house somewhere because he hadn't quite figured out that his crate was his like little area where he shouldn't wee, but he also shouldn't wee in the house. So that was another obstacle to overcome because he used to come straight out of his crate and just wee in the house. But eventually we got it. Honestly, I think it was probably around 7 months, something like that, you know, and he's really, really good now. I also had quite a lot of questions asking how he was like being left and also what we will do when we leave him to go on holiday. So in terms of being left, he's really good. We've left him for a fair few hours. We haven't actually, because another question I got was, is he a tie and are you restricted with a dog? Yes, you are. Of course you are. You know, you have someone to think about. You can't just go out for the day or go away for the weekend. Obviously 2020 happened when we first got him, so we haven't been going out for the day as much as we normally would do. Anytime we've gone out for the day, because of it being 2020, it tends to be outdoors. So we've gone to the beach for the day and he's just come with us. So we haven't yet had to sort of experience him being a tie in that respect. I'm sure we will eventually. But in terms of leaving him, we've left him for a few hours. He does whine when you leave the house, but I mean, he doesn't, I wouldn't know, but we've asked our neighbours to listen before and he hasn't been whining as much as they've heard him or anything like that. So it's just a case of getting them used to being left in the beginning. In terms of when we go on holiday, I haven't really thought about it yet. My dad, I thought maybe my dad would be able to have him, but unfortunately, it's really sad actually, but that's another story. My dad's actually more than likely going to move out of our area soon, so I don't know whether he would be able to have him. Also, while he's energetic and crazy like he is, I probably wouldn't want one of my family to have him, if you know what I mean, because I feel like it would be a bit much for them. You know, maybe for the odd night, like if we go away, my sister would have him, but to be honest, when we do go away, I think for my peace of mind, I'd more than likely put him into some sort of kennel or some sort of dog home. So I've got a lady I know who does it, or I don't know her, but I've heard of her, who has them in her house, in special rooms in her house. Obviously you have to pay. So I might try and do something like that. But, you know, so many people have a dog and they still go on holiday. So I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine. We just haven't thought of it yet. So has he calmed down at all? Definitely. In the beginning, this was one of the things that I found really hard, was he just did not seem to settle. So during the day, you know, you hear about puppies like falling asleep and like sleeping all day. That wasn't our experience at all. So in the day, he would just constantly, we would be trying to work and we'd sort of shut him in the room with one of us and he would be unsettled. He'd be clawing at the door. He would just have a little bit of like a play with a toy and then just be sort of prowling around doing things that he shouldn't. And then at night, especially, we'd put the kids to bed and all we'd want to do is relax. And he would just be a pain. He would just be circling around, just not settling. You know, we'd give him a toy, he wouldn't settle. And I just honestly thought, oh my God, what have we done? We're never going to get a break. But they do just calm down. In the beginning, in the very first sort of couple of months, we actually ended up getting Rolo a like puppy pen. It was a really big, great pen that we got from Amazon. And we would just put him in that because then it contained him and meant that we could see him. And it more than likely, he's always been like a dog that sort of needs a little bit of an area. He likes being sort of confined. So it actually ended up kind of helping him, I think. But they do calm down. He's still a crazy, energetic, like very, very playful dog, but he now is pretty chilled, so they definitely do calm down. He has his moments though. Oh, does he still have the crate? No, we got rid of the crate about 2 months ago now. We just felt like he didn't need it. However, as I was just saying, he is a dog that likes his own space and he likes to have like a little area. So he now has a little area under our stairs and he goes there at night. That's where he sleeps at night. I think it's nice for him to have his own little sort of secluded area away from people if he wants to sort of have a little bit of a break from the kids. And also it just means that he's got a little space to relax in, but 99% of the time he's wherever we are. He follows us around the house. How did you get Rolo to be more cuddly? So in the beginning, I used to talk about this quite a bit on my Instagram. Rolo was not a cuddly dog. And I know it sounds really silly, but I actually felt a little bit like cheated and a little bit upset, because that was one thing I really wanted in a dog. I used to see all these lovely like cute photos of dogs cuddling up to their owners, and that is what I wanted, and that was not my experience at all. He is really cuddly and affectionate now, so again, I think it's just one of those things that comes in time. He's still a dog that likes his own space. Like some evenings he'll sit out in the hallway even though all the doors are open, and he just won't be fussed by us, but then some evenings he'll cuddle up to me and sit on the sofa with us. One thing that we did do was we started to allow him on the sofa, because in the beginning, I don't know why, we just decided not to have him on the sofa, and then that was probably one big reason why he didn't cuddle us. When he was a very tiny puppy, we let him on the sofa, then we decided we weren't going to let him on the sofa, and then we decided we would. So now he's definitely more cuddly because he comes up on the sofa with us, but I think it is just something that comes in time. I've had lots of people asking like what he's like with the kids. He's absolutely brilliant. He's so patient with them. You know, they'll put like a blanket on him, or they'll like include him in their games, and he's just he's just wonderful with them. One thing that we're trying to stop him doing, so if anybody's got any advice, is the only time he is a bit funny with them is if they're out in the garden playing football. Obviously we're always watching them, but if they're out in the garden playing football, he gets so excited because I think they're running around in a kind of small space that he jumps up at them, and they don't like it. They don't want him to do that while they're trying to play football. So in the end, we have to keep him inside, and that's fine. But if anyone's got any tips for when they get really overexcited and they're still jumpy, especially like around the kids, then let me know. But that's pretty rare. It's only if they're out there playing football and he's like in one of his crazy moods. So if anyone's got any advice on that, let me know. I'm actually going to leave it on a really nice question, which was one thing about dog ownership that you love that you didn't think you would. So one really big thing for me is firstly having a companion. It's really nice. All my kids are now at school and I'm on my own a lot during the day, even though John, my husband, is in the garden in his office. It's just lovely to have a companion to be with and to kind of just be there. He's so cuddly, he's so affectionate, he's such a character and has just such a funny personality, and it's just lovely to have someone with me. And the second thing is the walks. He's made us explore so many different places in our local area that we would never have gone to before. I always thought we were quite active, but he's made us even more active. He made us get out, and I love the family walks and us all bonding on walks and stuff. My kids always moan about going out, and then we always end up having such a lovely time. So that's one big thing. But he has just enriched our lives in so many ways. He's just one of the family now, and we absolutely adore him. So if you are watching this and you're like, oh my God, my puppy is really hard work, I promise you it gets easier, first of all. And I just want you to be reassured, because he's just such a lovely member of the family, and we just wouldn't be without him. We all absolutely love him to bits. And that is it. If you have a question that I didn't answer, or if you have any questions in general, then please leave them below for me. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Normal service will resume. I'm not going to make it a habit of doing videos on my dog, even though I could talk about him for hours. So I will see you very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.